If you are anything like me, you're just thinking, okay, that's 100 degrees, time to hit the water. Yep, then you got a home here. Welcome to the Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of a state and let's just face it, the nation and the world that we live in. A lot of cool opportunities out there all around, especially right here in the Estados Unidos. I tell you that this is a topic we brought up yesterday as the boat captain that went viral and is getting slammed on social media. We only knew half the story, and the actual full story was that the actual charter, the person that chartered the boat, was an absolute insufferable schmuck, and the guy just snapped. The captain just snapped. And I promised y'all that I would chat today about some good ideas if you're out there chartering a boat. One is listen to the captain. We'll just preview that one before we get to it. We'll get to Fish ID, but when we get to have a good experience on a charter, well, let me tell you something. Having an experience on a charter starts with El Capitan. So what's up, Lynn? And let's go to this because I have this quail block thing, bird thing out in the Russell Studio Sanctuary, and it is interesting to me that I can look and see every dove that pops in. I know what it is. I even know a white dove, white winged dove, Eurasian dove, mourning dove. And by the way, it's mourning, mourning, dove, mourning. Like it's because of the sound that when the noise it makes, it sounds like somebody's weeping, like they're mourning. It's a mourning dove, not that they just come out in the morning. Yeah, not AM dove. It's a mourning, I'm crying, I'm very sad dove. Anyway, I got all of those down. Hawks, owls, got them. Everything else, I don't know what the bleep that thing is. There's a giant lizard in my backyard, and I said, I thought it looks like a bearded dragon. Apparently it wasn't. I forgot what it was. My girlfriend knew what it was right away. And she knew what all the other birds were right away. And I'm thinking, I don't know bird ID outside of the birds I hunt. Birds I hunt, I got them down cold because that's super important. And it's also super important, super duper schmooper important, to be able to ID fish as well when you are traveling in waters that you don't know. Largemouth, smallmouth, striped bass, easy breezy to figure out. Bluegill, got it. So easy to figure out. Fish ID here locally is simple. It's super easy. I mean, as far as a bass looks like a bass. If it's got a giant bucket mouth on it, it's a largemouth. Got a smallmouth on it, smallmouth. Took them minutes to come up with those. Definitely not the scientific terms, but definitely to do what they call them. So I got to thinking, I'm heading to Mexico in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to be fishing in Puerto Peñasco. Yeah, I'm one of those guys that broadcasts like, hi, I'm Mike Russell. I'm going to Puerto Peñasco. I'm Rocky Point for the cool kids. Heading down to Rocky Point. If y'all have any tips and tricks for shore fishing out in Rocky Point, let me know. I would love to know tackle, rod reel setups, how you guys work them down there. I would absolutely love to know some of the target species as well. I got a good line on some lures. And some that have been, I guess, discontinued for a while. They're back, and people that shore fish in Puerto Peñasco are like just losing their minds. So I got ordered some of those, but I'd like to know a little line and rod reel setups. If you guys let me know, and locations, let me know. Come on, you guys just throw them in the comments there. It's okay. Not everybody's going to go rush down and get to your spot, and Uncle Mike will take care of your spot. I promise. I will leave it better than I found it. I assure you, and probably with more fish than I found it. And it's okay. It's okay to go out and get skunked the first time you're out somewhere. But everybody that I'm with is probably going to outfish me. It's just the way. Intern Beans is the most insufferable person to fish with. She's the worst. The worst. Because she doesn't really dig doing it. She's like, okay, all right. And she'll go out and she'll cast retrieve, pull in like a 5-pound bass and just say, okay, I'm done. Pull in like the biggest fish there is that anyone's going to catch that day by far and just say, okay, I'm done. It's my daughter, and I raised her to be that way. So, I knew any boy tried to date her. You got your work cut out for you, champ. You got your work cut out for it, and that's my doing. Yeah, that's right. It is. So it's something that I need to know because I don't even know what I'm going to be pulling in. I don't even know what I'm targeting down there. So, which brings up two things that you need to know. When you go to a different body of water or to a different state, or in this case, a different nation, you go out of the country. And you are going to just start fishing. I'm just going to throw a line in the water, see what pops up. So I just want to, I want to, what do you mean you care more about you than fishing in Mexico? Let me tell you something. It's going to be glorious. It's going to be glorious. And if it's not, guess what? I'm going to make it glorious. We're going to have a great time. when you go into another nation and go fishing, and you just throw out a bait, a lure, or whatever into the ocean, you don't know what you're going to get. You better darn well be able to ID once that thing comes up to the beach or once that thing comes up to the rocks on what you got there. And one of the key things is you don't want to break any international laws. Yeah, think about this. So if you think you've got this beautiful fish and you're like, oh my gosh, this thing is going to eat so well. We got the grill going over there at the house. This is going to be fantastic. Right out of the water, right to the grill. It's going to be fantastic. And all of a sudden you have a protected fish in your hand. Again, ignorance of the law is no defense. You need to know, and you have to know what you can and cannot fish in foreign waters. And if you catch one, you better know the proper procedure to release the dang things. Because it's like when you see a little baby aminal and you think, oh, it's abandoned. Oh, it's a stray, so it's all alone. No. Mama's watching. Mm-hmm. The authorities in different nations, they're watching too. Oh, here comes the little American thinking he can catch anything he wants, treat it how he wants. Oh, it's an American. Look at this guy. Look at this guy with his trucker hat on. He's a total redneck. This guy's going to break every law we have on the water, right? I have to learn that and know that before I go down, so I just don't borrow trouble. I'm not going to, okay, let me gut it real quick and see if I can get it to the grill before anybody notices that's the fish I caught. That's not me. A, I'm not a poacher. B, I want to learn the laws and know that I get the right fish. And how about this? How about for my own? Even Lynn said I care more about myself than fishing in Mexico. If you go down to, you can't ID the fish, but again, it looks like a good eating fish could be unhealthy for you. And I'm not just talking about, oh, it's going to add to your cholesterol. It might make you sick. Like this, there's so many different cool, amazing species in the ocean, and a lot of them will just kill you if you eat them. So, or just make you super, super sick if you eat them. So you need to understand that. So going down, it needs to be a little bit of an education for myself. And I've got to be self-taught unless somebody's going to bust in here and say, hey, listen, Mike, this is exactly what you need to do down in Rocky Point. Unless Grizz pops in here. If Grizz pops in here, I'm not taking one piece of advice. No way in the world. That guy's going to send me on some wild. He'll probably get me arrested just to prank me. But I kid, Grizz. Go jump in there with me if you can. But I have to educate myself on both the laws and the maybe there might even be a time you can and can't fish. Who knows? I have to find out. And like I said, if you popped on like Facebook, you'll see the description of the show, which just said the fish ID is important, if not more important than bird ID. You know, if I am in the second season of dove season and second round, sorry, of dove season, and I clip a white wing, which you're not allowed to. I accidentally clip a white wing. There's not a big, there's not sirens blazing and you get into trouble. Just report it and say, listen, this is what I did. And my bad. And they're like, okay, whatever. You're good. Thanks for reporting it. Appreciate it. Put that on the count. And if you do that in a different nation, you might be hosed. You might, sorry, I didn't know I could do that. Again, ignorance of the law is no defense. And they might just, one of the things that I saw on the chat boards about basically Mexican law is, yes, there are laws. It just depends on whether or not the person, the law enforcement officer in front of you is going to enforce those laws or make up their own. So you just got to do what you do. So educate yourself as best you can. Educate yourself on target species. Educate yourself on how to clean those. And then one of the things that we got into, the criminal. Oh, no, I totally know what you were talking to about, Lynn. Lynn, trust me. I understand that. Rob and I have been to the border, and yeah, it's a little dicey. It is. But I grew up spending a lot of time in Mexico with my grandparents. My grandparents would visit orphanages down there and bring a bunch of toys from yard sales and stuff like that. They go around collecting a bunch of stuff and take it down there and just stoke the kids and fire them up. So I spent a lot of time down there. I'm not afraid by any stretch of the actual Mexican culture. I love the Mexican culture. But the federales and the policia, and it's a roll of the dice. That's for sure. But I mean, in towns like that, in Rocky Point, and a lot of the towns where a lot of Europeans and Americans have retired to or you kind of snowbird to, look, the bad guys, the element and the federales and all, they know to stay away from that. They're not there to cause any trouble. That's their meal ticket. That is a huge economy to them, and they understand that. and the powers that be let them know that. So I feel pretty confident and comfortable going down there. There's great deals to be had on we rented a beach house. It's absolutely fantastic. And so just, yeah, I'm not too concerned about that. But I had this conversation with my girlfriend about will I be pulling in these fish and eating them, or will I do catch and release? And that's where this idea to talk about this today came in. As far as fish ID, I don't know what a legal limit is, legal size is. I don't know what a big whatever I pull in. Is that a big one? Is that a small one? I have no idea. Is this a good eating fish? Is this not a good eating fish? I have to educate myself. And I'll be honest with y'all. You I think you know me. Unless I am on a chartered boat, which we're going to talk about here in a bit. Unless I'm on a chartered boat, I usually just catch and release. I hate cleaning fish. I just do. I hate cleaning fish as much as I hate sitting and glassing when I'm hunting. I hate filleting fish and cleaning fish as much as I hate tracking an animal. Can't stand it. Oh my gosh, what a waste. I really don't. And if there's fish markets down there, great. I'm just gonna go grab some fish and make some nice ceviche, and we'll just call it good. It was caught that day. It's fine by somebody else. I don't care. I got to go out there and fight a couple fish onto the shore, and it was great. It was a good time. And I lived to tell the story, got the picture cheese, and then boom, done. Yeah. Unless I pull in a whopper something that people are like, oh my gosh, that's the best eating fish, like a red snapper or something like that. I'm keeping that bad boy for sure. We're chomping on that. Such a good fish. So again, this is the list. Know the laws, know the fish, know your limits, and really decide what you want to do with it. And if you're thinking, okay, if I catch this fish A, fish B, or fish C, I'm going to keep it. And that brings up our fourth thing that we want to talk about, and that is very simple. Learn how to cook it right. Don't just think I'm going to go throw this stuff in some oil and it's going to be good. If you find a fish that people are raving about online, that this is a delicacy, it's so good. Cook it right, treat it right, bring some recipes with you, bring the seasonings that you want, and make it happen. Yeah. Hey, you know something, Lynn? That's a good. Okay, let's bring that up. Lynn actually brings up a good point. He said to me, catch and release amounts to animal abuse. Okay, that's fine. And you know something, and this is I want to show everybody, including Lynn, who's a wonderful, wonderful fan of the show, front of the show. I disagree with that, but I see your point. I do see your point. Catch and kill is sure a hell of a lot worse than catch and release. Okay. So you see that these big, like lunker bass that you see, these big giant fish in the ocean, they've been caught several times. I assure you, they've been caught several times. They figure it out pretty damn quickly, right? Like, I'm just going to hang tight. I was going to hang tight. I see that thing. Yeah. Look at that worm just sitting there. When in my life have I seen a worm suspended in the water, just wiggling? Yeah, exactly. They figure it out rather quickly. But that's kind of part and parcel of the whole thing. That's to me, that is the same as going out and tagging an animal, tranking and tagging an animal for studies. It's no worse to me than that. And so the fish get a lesson. I get a thrill. We get a picture. Everybody's happy. If not, I'm pulling it in. I'm eating it. Its death was not in vain, and it's being used either for a wonderful meal plus bait, or wonderful meal plus just some snacks for those little predator fish that are a little feeder fish that are kind of cruising around in the ocean when I throw that the body back into the ocean. So I think the toughest part, Lynn, is when your intention is to catch and release, and then you get a fish like where they swallowed the hook, and you're like, son of a bee sting. You know, you just got to decide. You're like, I don't want to try to get this hook out. I don't want to try to get this hook out because I'm going to just tear this fish up. So you leave it in there and you hope that, and I believe that the average hook rusts out completely to nothing in 6 days. So that is kind of cool, I guess, especially saltwater. They just eat that stuff up. But that's the hardest part. That to me is the equivalent of when I'm dove hunting and I shoot a dove and I can't find it. That to me is just, it really is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. This is a good question. Everybody, Becky, everyone. She's the one I was having this conversation with. So it's good, and she's the one I'm going to Mexico with. Can you do barbless, or does that work well for the ocean? Barbless works well for anything. Actually, circle hooks are what you usually use in the ocean, and yeah, it's pretty. And what I'm going to be using a lure. It's really hard for a fish to swallow a lure, so I think we're pretty safe there. But again, I don't know. I don't know if I want to just grab. I want to lip this thing with my thumb. I don't know these fish. I have no idea. These fish could have spiky teeth, and I don't want to deal with any of that noise. But yeah, barbless is a good idea. And appreciate that, Lynn. You don't need to be on my side. We can just keep having a cool conversation about it, and that just makes a world of difference for everything. Again, we're winning hearts and minds. We're just, we don't want to necessarily bring people to go out and hunt and fish if they don't want to. Winning hearts and minds just means cool. You're cool. I'm cool. I respect you. I respect you. Respect your opinion. Respect what you do. Awesome. And Becky, actually, a good thing that we'll do probably if there are barbs on these, we'll probably just pinch them. And if you pinch the barbs, it's the same thing. It's almost the same as going barbless. So yeah. Mm-hmm. But actually, to answer that question, yes, it's probably a good idea. But I don't know if the lures that I ordered are barbless. I have no idea. I'm gonna have to check those out. So yeah, to be continued. I'll tell you later. let's switch gears a little bit to actual charters, because I was looking at charters down there, and there are a few really cool looking charters, a lot of good reviews, a lot of good things like that, a lot of really cool, because that I know I'm bringing the fish back, because they clean the fish on the boat, everything's great, and it's just a really, really good time. What I love about charters is that you don't have to at all deal with all of the nonsense of fishing on your own. And this is why I've been an advocate for several years about fishing backpacks, which I'll be taking down there with us. You just have the thing on your back and you're mobile. You can move around. You're not lunking a big tackle box around, more tackle, multiple lines. Multiple rods and reels. They usually attach to the backpack, and you're mobile and off and running. But if you don't even want to deal with that and that kind of a hassle, and you don't even want to think about packing fishing gear, then by all means, just charter a spot. They're relatively expensive, especially down there. I was thinking those things were looking like $150. It wasn't that bad. And if you watch and you're like, Mike, that's a lot of dough. I get it. But you didn't have to buy the boat. You didn't have to buy the gas. You didn't have to buy the bait and the equipment. They all have it. Boom. And you get to use all of that for half a day and probably pulling some really good fish like calico bass and hopefully some red snapper. Oh, gosh. Yeah. And then you're eating good in the neighborhood. You're eating good in the hood. If you remember yesterday, there was the boat captain that was losing his mind and, dropping F-bombs and turned the boat around, called the charter off. And it was horrifying to see, because there were kids that were recording. Come to find out that the boat captain was pretty much in his right to pop his top. He could have done it in a different way, could have done a little better. But I do understand where he was coming from. He almost just died because of something that the dad of the kids kept doing that the captain told him not to do. And the guy who didn't just he wasn't just dumb, he was arrogant. So I've been around boats my whole life, and I can, I know my way around a boat and this and that. No, he launched the boat forward when the captain was pulling in a fish for his kid, and almost tossed him into the prop. Yeah. I'd have lost my top too, lost my cool, but I would have had to face consequences as well. So let's get in then. Right out of the gates, the captain is the captain. Doesn't matter. And this is why reviews are so important, because most reviews for boat charters aren't talking about the boat or how many fish they caught. The majority are talking about the captain and the staff, the captain and the captain's mates. That's what you want to focus on. Because a good captain that treats you with respect, when you treat that captain with respect and his or her crew with respect, sky's the limit. They will put you on fish. Because understand this: if you go out to H&M Landing or Dana Point or Carlsbad, wherever your boat docks, those captains talk to each other all the time. They even talk to the bait boys when they pull up to get the live bait. They'll kick them a little extra dough. Where are the fish? Where are they at? So they know where the fish are. If you are a complete jerk, or you and your buddies are a complete jerk to the captain and crew, guess what? You ain't getting on the fish, because they don't want you back. They're going to treat you kindly. They're going to give you a fun experience. We're going to make sure you don't come back because you didn't catch any fish. You see? So if you say this captain was amazing, his crew was amazing, we were on the fish, that's where you want to go. And you want to treat that captain as if that captain is like your brother-in-law coming over for dinner, right? And you just want to be like, yeah, respectful, kind, happy, having a good time, and understand that. I'm sorry, you're going over to someone else's house. You're going to be kind, courteous. You're not going to jack with all their stuff. You're going to treat their home with respect. It's the same thing. These captains essentially live on these boats in a lot of cases, and you're in their home. They're welcoming you to their home. You're paying to be there. I get it. But they want to be treated with respect, and they want to treat you with respect. So that's the first review you look at, what the captain in their crew is like. And if they're helpful, if they're attentive, sky's the limit. I have seen some crew do some crazy stuff. I have been very lucky to have, for the most part, in all of my charters, really cool captains. This is something I've seen that was absolutely absurd. There is something called the tuna dance. And I don't know if y'all have ever heard it, but this is what the tuna dance is. Okay. So let's say a boat pulls up to a kelp bed or whatever it is, and there's just a ton of tuna down there. And everybody's throwing lines in the water with live bait. Now everybody's hooked up. Now I want you to think about fishing. You've got about 15 people along the rails of that boat, all with bent poles, and the fish going wherever the hell the fish wants to go. This is one of the biggest things about having a good charter and not having a good charter, is now treating everyone out there with you that is hell-bent on getting a fish. They want that picture. They want their money's worth. They want that meat. They want the grip and grin. They want it all. And if they feel you are the person that is responsible for their fish getting off, all hell breaks loose. So there has to be this common courtesy and respect, and it starts with the tuna shuffle, tuna dance, whatever you want to call it, the tuna waltz, different boats, we'll call it different things. Tuna hokey pokey, don't care. I just caught the tuna two-step. I like that because it takes two to do this. Here's what happens. So you're constantly watching your line. You're reeling in your fish, but you're watching your line to see what your fish is doing. And then you have people on both sides of you that have lines in the water. And you have to watch their line relative to your line. That's why I will swear by this until I stop fishing. Tell them too old to fish. Native Eyewear has the best polarization for offshore fishing there is. Native Eyewear, not kidding. I'm not endorsed by them. That's just what I use. And soon enough, you'll see my website will be up, and you'll see basically what Mike uses, whether I'm endorsed by them or not. Anyway, so you're watching those lines. If you see your line go under their line, you tap them on the shoulder, coming under you, and they respect that. They don't want you to cross their line, so you're not interrupting them by any means. They're like, good, I'm coming over you. Now you see you're the guy person next to you. Now their line's under yours. You tap on the shoulder, coming over you. And then when people do the same to you, you're just kind of moving. You guys are just shuffling different spots on the. It is absolutely. It will restore your faith in humanity when you see it done right. When you see 15 anglers up there, and everybody's got a bent pole, and everybody's pulling in fish because everybody's getting it right. Everybody's getting it right. Now, here's where I got to something crazy. So I was on a fish, two other guys on fish, and these things, so you understand, I don't know if you've ever heard the term pinwheeling. What a pinwheel is when a tuna is just done. Tuna's like, okay, cool, get me to the boat. By the way, they can take off like 2-3 times. You might have to reel those suckers in like 2-3 times because they're stronger than anything you possibly imagine. When they get close to the boat, they start going in a circle. It's called a pinwheel. They'll just go in a circle. You just keep bringing them up close to the boat. So the pinwheel happens maybe at the same time as a couple other guys that are flanking me on each side. So now we have 2 50 to 80 pound tuna going like this, circling at the same time. All 3 of these tuna started twirling together. The line started almost braiding itself. And I'm thinking, well, guys, I guess we can Rochambeau to pick who gets to pull in a fish because we're losing fish here. There's no way we're getting these fish in. This deckhand said, guys, open up your reels. Basically, just take the drag off, just let them free flow. And I think, okay, maybe they're gonna maybe eventually run away and they'll all go part ways and the lines will clear. Nope. This guy, and I'm not kidding, His entire back tattoo, he did not have a shirt on this entire time. The entire back tattoo was an outline of a tuna, big, thick, black outline of a tuna with an X for eyes, dead tuna. That was his entire back. And his neck had hooks, fish hooks on each side. So when somebody like that tells you, hey, dude, do this, you do it. If you're on a tuna boat, you do it. You listen to that guy. That guy knows. Not kidding what this guy did. This guy grabbed the actual braid that was now made by these 350-plus pound tuna, 30-plus pound tuna that are coming up. And he grabs, didn't have gloves on. He grabs it and just starts handlining it. Just starts pulling all of them up and starts screaming for a gaff. Gaff, gaff, gaff. I need 3 gaffs. Just bringing it up. The rest of the deck, the captain and 2 other deckhands came through with gaffs. Pop, all 3 on the boat. That guy. I'm having trouble pulling in one because it's an insane experience. It's so much fun. It is a great workout. This dude, I got it. Don't worry about it. Guys, open up your reels. Just starts pulling it up handline. Again, if one of your the employees on your boat has a full tuna back tattoo and his neck tattoos are fish hooks, that's the one you want to attach yourself to. Okay. Second thing, for enjoying a charter. Well, look for that guy. 1. 2, enjoying a charter. Treat the captain's staff with respect. Do your look for reviews on that as well, that they're going to treat you with the same. Learn the tuna 2-step. That's mine. Careful, I just made that up. Tuna 2-step. And treat everyone else on the boat with respect. Listen to what the staff tells you to do and do it. And then I'm telling you, this is the best thing in the world to do. Take care of the galley chef. Yes. Make the galley chef your friend. And then you are going to be well taken care of when it's breakfast burrito time. I'm not kidding there. No, but the biggest tip, don't be afraid to ask. Ask questions. You're not a pro. You haven't been doing this your whole life. I mean, maybe you have, but you're probably the person that needs to answer the questions then. Like, I'll answer as much questions as I can because I've done this a lot and I've been doing it for a hot minute. But I had to ask the first time. The first day I went out, everyone else caught fish. I didn't catch a fish. I sucked. I was just sipping beer. I was pretty much pounding beer in the galley that night. And I went up to this old salty dude that had just been, he's tearing it up. I said, man, listen, I'll take care of your galley tab tonight. Can you show me what I'm doing wrong? And he goes, yeah. He goes, when we're on the fish, just stay on my hip. And I'm like, okay. Sure enough, next day we get on the fish. Everybody's got bent poles. He goes, all right, buddy, let's see what you got. And from the minute I dip my hand into the live well to pull the fish out, he goes, nope, you're doing it wrong. I'm like, okay. Tells me why I'm doing it wrong. Then I pull it up. I hook it in. He goes, nope, you're doing it wrong. Put it back. I'm like, what? Okay. So I pick the fish out of the live well, put it on the hook. He's like, okay, let's go ahead and throw it in. Throw it in. He's like, okay, now you're doing it wrong, but I'm going to fix. You're not going to have to reel it in, but I'm going to fix what you're doing wrong here. You're holding it wrong. Here you go. There you go. And he goes, okay, now here's what I want you to do. And it's not maybe 30 seconds later. He goes, what I want you to do is I want you to take your left hand and I want you to hold on to right above the reel just as much as you can. Hold it as tight as you can. And I want you to flip that little switch because you got a fish on. I'm like, no, I don't. He goes, flip it. Pop. Reel just goes. Rod just bends over. The reel starts screaming. Zzz, and I'm like, holy mackerel. Caught 4 fish that day. Just because I asked. And the great part about it is the guy doesn't want a big drinker. I only bought him 2 beers. It was fantastic. That was worthwhile. It's like $10. I was like, yeah, and okay, good. Yeah. I bought him a t-shirt. Told him thank you. I paid for his. What I did was I paid for his cleaning. Usually they'll charge you like $3 to $5 to process each of the fish, and he had like 4 or 5 of them. So I was just, I got your cleaning fee, and tip the guys well. It's really not that difficult to have a really good charter. And it really does start with just being respectful to the captain, listening to the captain. They're going to run through a safety briefing when you're going out at night. If you're on an overnight trip, they're going to run through a safety briefing. Just put your phone down. Yeah, just put it down. Just listen. Listen for a few minutes. Act as you want your kids to act. That is a there we go. When you charter a boat, act how you want your kids to act. It's going to change the world. It's going to change your world, not change the world. No, I was going to sing Eric Clapton right there, but I don't have the sing jar anywhere near here. But it will change your fishing experience on a chartered boat if you just act the way you would want your kids. You act towards the captain the way you'd want your kids to act towards you, and the way you'd want your kids to act towards the captain. But get out there. I mean, here's a thing to look for. My buddy Dell, he's always finding spots on boats. If you want to kind of not really gamble with it, but kind of risk it, there's a lot of last minute. Like you're heading out to San Diego, H&M Landing is a great place. Fishing Dana Wharf if you're up in Dana Point or if you're up in Orange County. But if you're down in San Diego County, H&M is kind of the one. And if you want to kind of wait, or maybe you're heading out there and you think maybe I will, maybe I won't, last minute boat deals are fantastic because these boats want to fill up. And if they've got, this is a 12-person boat, this is a 20-person boat, this is a 15-person boat, and they only have 13 of the 15, they'll say, look, half price, go today. We're leaving tonight. So you can catch a really, really good deal if that's the case. And in most of the places as well, we'll rent gear for you. So you don't have to have an offshore rod and reel. I'm going to tell you one more story that just popped into my head that was fantastic. I was at my very first co-host in radio. It was Michael P. Whiny Weinstein. We called him Whiny. And him and I went on several charters. And one of the charters that we went on, his reel, he was on a fish and his reel jammed. This was the craziest thing ever. This is why you always respect and treat your boat captain and the crew with respect. I have this on video. This is no joke. His reel jammed. He's like, I'm going to lose this fish. The crew's like, no, you're not. They did a reel exchange with a fish on and didn't lose it. They exchanged reels while the fish was on, and the fish stayed on with the new reel, and it's fine. They literally cut it. Grizz, what's up, bud? They literally cut the line, and they tied it to a new line and just started reeling that sucker in. I've never seen something so bleeping amazing while I'm fishing. I was just watching. I filmed the entire thing because I was stunned that it was happening right in front of me. Yeah. Well, Grizz, I bet better late than never, champ. This show even went 2 minutes over. Holy mackerel. I'm going to wait till tomorrow. Or the podcast. Check it out on Spotify, will you? Just the Go Show with Mike Russell. There it is. And we're still trying with this Apple podcast thing. It's just absolutely maddening. Anyway, let's do this again tomorrow, shall we? And by the way, this FAFO Friday is turning out to be a really, really, really good one. I got a lot of good videos for you, a lot of good fun we're going to have this Friday, but let's do this again. Happy Taco Tuesday, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 right here on the Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors. It's a beautiful outdoor playground of a state and nation we live in. Have a great afternoon.